All right, welcome to Myth Vision, everybody. We have Dr. Kipp Davis, Dr. Joshua Bowen, Vishanti. Welcome to Myth Vision. The party is starting right now.
It's a party.
It's a party. How's everybody doing?
Good. I had a nap today, which I think is something I needed as well.
How nice for you.
Well, I was just about to tell you how early I was up this morning, but then I remembered who I'm talking to, and now I'll just shut up. So
yeah. Well, I've got 20 minutes, so you're wasting time, and I've got to go to bed too. It's past my bedtime. So, and me and Josh both, I suspect,
Florida man has to go to bed. So,
I guess we're just laying out the kind of ground rules of what we're planning on tonight. We're gonna have a go fun time, having a lot of fun and going. Okay, and there's gonna be some me's involved as well. So if you're interested and you want to help Dr. Kipp Davis, I'll just start it off this way. A couple years ago, I was looking for an expert on the Hebrew Bible, started diving into some interesting ideas, and came across this YouTube channel in the corner of YouTube, just hiding, just with this big goatee, just hiding in the corner of YouTube. And I was like, someone told me, I can't remember who it was.
It was
you should try and
Camille.
reach out to this guy.
It was Camille. It was Camille Gregor.
Okay. It may have been Camille. And I reached out to you, and I felt like we hit it off. We had a hell of a show. And I accepted the Lord and Savior Satan into my life, because that's what, you know. And then from there, we've become really good friends. And I thought,
good friends.
Wow, you've had some pretty struggling moments lately. There's been life hitting as usual. It happens to all of us, but we have an excellent community of people who have our backs, who can help. And so if you want to help Kipp, and we'll reiterate this over time, GoFundMe is pinned in the comment. It's in the description. Kipp could use your help, and we really appreciate the community for being there when struggling times happen. So anything you want to say, anyone on the panel, before we get to Alex O'Connor taking on 25 Christians at once? I mean, come on.
Wow. The Christians are really getting progressive. 25 at once. Okay.
This is not.
They're having their own GoFundMe.
Oh, okay. So it's a different kind of taking on 25. Okay. My bad.
Yeah. This isn't 25 in one cup. Okay. This is just.
Okay. So it's not 25 on one, but it is just not that way. Okay.
Definitely not.
Before we do any of that, did you guys hear Alex O'Connor canceled his appearance at DebateCon 5? I don't know if y'all heard about this. Yes. Because like there's a bunch of there's a bunch of crazy people who are going to be involved with DebateCon 5 in the first place. And some of them, David Wood, Apostate Prophet, they really like to rattle Muslims, and as a result of this, there was a large group, or I don't know about how large, but there were certainly threats made against the event, and some of the participants were starting to receive threats from some sort of extreme people. And Alex just kind of decided, you know what, I don't think I need this. It's fine. But I found out about it because somebody had posted on my on one of my Twitter threads that Alex is apparently not willing to die for his atheism. Like a coward, right?
Okay. I mean, fair play to Alex,
It just shows how weak his worldview is if he's not willing to go and
Alex is not willing to lay his life on the line for DebateCon 5.
Yeah, how dare he?
Yeah.
Debate.
So it's Go figure, right? But anyways, that's that's what's going on.
Just a side note. Oh, please, Josh.
I was just gonna say, because it's now come up, I think 6 times in the side chat. Yes, I shaved the beard off. I tried to even it out on my own. Enough said. I have a local barber that I have found. Also, my 2 3-year-olds, as soon as I came downstairs without it, they said, "Mommy, tell Daddy bring Pokies back."
The
So
Pokies.
That's
Pokies.
adorable.
So cute.
It will be
And
coming
we have-
back. Don't worry.
Oh,
Captain Dadpool in the chat says,
Oh,
I'm willing
hey,
to help
Ricky.
Dr. Kipp for a small price of a sketchy Dead Sea Scroll fragment, of course.
You've got one in your backpack, don't you?
It's still there. Yes. Still smuggled back from the bomb in Berlin. So,
I
yeah.
do
But
wanna say-
honestly, though, you might want to hit up Wes Huff, because I know that he makes the.
I mean, those are pretty damn good
They're pretty good.
reproductions. I'm
They
just
are.
saying, like,
Yep.
Creditors too. Those are very nice.
100%.
If you will, save the super chats and hit the GoFundMe. I know that there any number is acceptable, I think, right, Kip? Or is there a
Oh
minimum?
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so any support, if you have questions, you can ask through the GoFundMe. Kip, if you can keep an eye on that.
I certainly shall.
Yeah,
So,
keep me up to date on that. And then let's go ahead and watch Alex O'Connor commit genocide on 25 Christians. It's not genocide. We should be apologists on behalf of Alex right now and just describe it as they were sinful, inherently evil, and deserving of everything they had coming.
Well, I mean, I think we can know that in the future they're going to grow up to be very sinful. So that's why Alex had to step in now.
That's probably
he's doing him a favor, really.
That's
yeah.
right.
I mean, it's just a transition, right? And then is that what it's called?
It's from
temporary. It's to show you a better way to debate. You know, we're doing progressive debates. You know,
from one plane of debate existence.
One plane of existence. That's what it is.
One plane of existence. That's right.
God.
Here we go.
So, yeah.
Let's see how this thing. I'm gonna keep it like this, just because it's such a massive channel. It scares me that they might try to ding us while we're live. I've seen it happen with Neil.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping it kind of defaultish like this, so that it doesn't take up the full screen or too much of the screen. Cool. Here we go.
Okay. Claim is that God commands genocide in the Bible.
Short answer, yes.
Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet
you. This is a bummer of a claim, right? Like when you look at scripture, right?
I agree.
There's a myriad of problematic things we see in scripture, from genocide to misogyny to slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that we find genocide in scripture. I would argue, though.
So you agree with my claim?
Yeah, I think it's in scripture. Yeah, I mean, I think it's in there.
Okay,
right?
Well, thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, this is good.
Hey, nice.
So,
right?
I mean, but here's what I would say
under 20
I ought to
seconds.
do with this claim as a Christian, if you're okay with entertaining that idea, right? So we see mass murder in scripture, right? And so one of my greatest friends, Rabbi Josh Stanton, he's a rabbi, the Hebrew scriptures are his. That's where we're finding these genocides, right? And
yeah, so to spell it out, we've got, I think that the two most problematic are in 1 Samuel 15, the destruction of Amalek, and in the book of Joshua, the destruction of Jericho and the destruction of Ai. So for the sake of the audience who might not know about this, in 1 Samuel, for example, the Amalekites are a Canaanite tribe. They're in the land that's been promised to Israel. Israel are instructed through the prophet Samuel.
Yell at me when you want to stop it.
Completely destroy the Amalekites, leave nothing alive that breathes, kill man and woman, child and infant, cattle and sheep. And in fact, when Israel does as they're instructed,
hold on.
they destroy
I did want to say that. Okay, go ahead, Vish.
No. Okay, well, my initial hesitation with this guy is that his first kind of explanation was like, yeah, I totally agree with you that genocide's in there, but it's in the Hebrew Bible part. And that leads me to believe that he's going to try to make the argument that, oh, that's the mean Old Testament God, and those are the old ways, but we have the nice new Jesus who condemns you to conscious eternal torment. So that's way better. I might be wrong. I haven't watched this, but probably not the best start, but I will give him credit for agreeing with the claim within the first 15 to 20 seconds. That's impressive.
Continue.
I think so. I just this one we'll see her again, but her name is, I think her name is Lori, the one lady that they showed just before this. She's I kind of like her because she always looks like she just can't believe anything that anybody is saying through this whole thing. It's pretty great, but yeah. All right, let's see.
Saul decides to keep the king as a captive, and he also saves the best of the animals. The prophet Samuel comes to him and says, "What have you done?" And he says, "Well, we kept the best of the animals in order to sacrifice to the Lord." And it says twice that God regrets that he made Saul king. Why does he regret that he made Saul king? Because Saul didn't follow his commandment to completely destroy the Amalekites by keeping the king alive and by keeping the best of the livestock. Saul says, "We kept the livestock alive to burn as a sacrifice to the Lord."
Yeah.
And Samuel says, "What pleases the Lord more, burnt offerings or the following of his commands?"
Sure.
And so we know that we're talking about what I would define here as a genocide.
Yeah. So it's in there, right? And I would say this is a great place where things like progressive Christianity serve us quite well. Not in the idea that God is progressing, but humanity is progressing further to a greater understanding of God's epic injustice. I would also say when I look at
Are you
I
patting
retract-
yourself
I
on the back
I
there,
retract
Vish?
half those claps. I retract half those claps.
contemporaries
He
here.
was
I
almost
don't
there.
read it as 100% literal. Like I don't need scripture to be a history book, a literal book. So I look and I have to say, well, what is this telling me? And it's a awful story. Might I say a shitty story for us to have to go through and navigate, right? And I would go back to my friend again, who is a rabbi.
Dan can't handle it. Dan's like,
No.
I love this actually. Like he's actually making really cogent arguments, and I appreciate that. I'm just there's a couple
that's
things
why
I would nitpick, but I love the idea that he's going with the progressive Christianity angle. Is like, hey, there's some stuff in there. We can wrestle with that. We don't have to stop being Christians. We can just go, hey, humanity's moved on past this type of like rhetoric, which is what Judaism did. We look at that stuff and go, you know what? We don't have to follow slavery. Humanity's moved past that morally, so let's move past it. And I really like that answer, but it's not surprising that there's a bunch of red flags going up because
right. Yes.
I bet he's ruffling feathers with that one.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that we're starting to see a bunch of red flags now because probably because this is similar to the answer I would have given back when I was still a confessing Christian. So
I also looked up the word for regret. It's the same one that's used in Genesis when God is said to have regretted that he made humanity. It's nakam, to be sorry or sigh, or you can use it to comfort, but it's also depending on how you conjugate it. You can have a deep regretful sigh, you could comfort somebody with it. It's
Rabbi who we had this conversation just in friendship about how he reconciles to the Holocaust. I haven't been a part of this genocide, but he's talking about the one you're referencing in scripture, right? I wasn't around for it, but this is one that is in relatable human history that we can have family members that were a part of, right? And for my friend who hasn't had this not compromise his faith, that was
what
the
does
question.
the red flag mean?
This is a genocide.
I mean, shut this guy up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, no. Hang on.
Do we need to explain the format? That's awesome.
So when you get if you look in the bottom left, Josh, you'll notice. Well, there's an 8 out of 20. So that's how many flags of everyone in there is a Christian. Now, mind you, these Christians would look at the other Christians, and clearly, if we could ask them in an interview, do you really think that's a Christian? And they'd say,
well, one
no.
of the guys is a Mormon.
Exactly.
Right?
So there's various
a Christian, just a different kind.
Right. But you know how that lands with the 24 other guys in that room.
Yeah. I'm seeing something in the chat that I've seen a lot come up in conversations that like this is, but it's in there. Okay, that's because the Bible's an anthology. It's recording people's thoughts, their culture, their philosophy, all of their rituals. Like it's recording these things and it's telling you how they thought. I don't really know that anyone could make a case that we're obligated to follow Iron Age morality. I certainly wouldn't want to make that case. So when you look at stuff in an anthology, you can read it and study it and
Yeah.
learn from it and go, hey, wow, look at what this tells me about the people of the time. It's not like, oh, wow, this is an eternal declaration, and just because they use the text of my tradition, I'm obligated to follow it literally. No, that's...
So just to help Josh out before we continue, once they get to 11 out of 20 flags, then they shut it down and move on to someone new.
Oh, okay.
All
So
right.
they get voted out because
Yeah.
clearly you're going to notice, and I noticed this watching some of it. I didn't even watch this whole thing yet. You'll notice some of the Christians are on the edge of their seat thinking either I could do way better than this, and I can't believe this guy's making us look bad. So you could see like Than's face going, oh man, I can't believe he just admitted that. He gave them points. Like you can see the frustration from these mostly apologetic Christians, if not all of them.
So, and you'll notice, you'll see this too, right, guys? That when they shut it down, and they transition, like it's a mad dash to get to that chair, and I think poor Than probably needs to work a little on his twitch muscles. I don't know. Is that it? Is it the ones that make you
The fast twitch?
So
the fast twitch?
they set a clock for 20 minutes, and it's either 20 minutes when the clock runs out, or 11 people out of the 25 throw up enough red flags, and then they cut it, move to the next topic.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
People in your religion, and for people that really loved God on a deep and a profound level, like how is this not shaking your faith? And for him and for me and for many others, as you look at scripture, I mean, I think that God is ultimately always pulling us toward greater levels of justice. And we look into this story in history, like I think people are recording a potentially historic genocide that they are trying to make sense of in their religious world. Superimposing language for God.
Do you think that God commanded this to happen?
I am not.
I know the genocides didn't happen. Literally, we know that because there's no archaeological evidence for that. Which doesn't get everyone off the hook, but I also have to say that, like, listen, the Holocaust is something that happened within living memory, but when we're, as a Jew, we don't say like, oh, this shook my faith, because faith isn't how you join or leave Judaism. So that's a very Christian framing that he's kind of put those goggles on, because that's how you get in or out of Christianity, is the thoughts in your head and your beliefs and opinions on stuff. So that's not how Judaism works, but whatever. Surprised he kind of doesn't seem to have learned that having a rabbi friend, but you know,
there's lots of different stripes of rabbis too, in my experience. So yeah, and maybe it's worth saying something as well. I mean, this is something that Josh and I, when we encounter and we talk about this topic, as we've done a number of times online, I do feel like, and thank you, Vishanti, for pointing that out, but I do feel like we have to continually remind everyone that the conquest did not happen. This is fiction. And for the life of me, I don't understand why more evangelical Christians, more of the conservative Christians, aren't just remarkably relieved by that fact. It perplexes me that people don't lean into the facts a little bit more.
I would like to suggest a possible reason for that. Christianity came out of like apocalyptic Second Temple Judaism, right? And a big part of apocalypticism is punishing enemies and people who are making you suffer, and the good guys winning over the bad guys, and God showing up and like beating up the dad of evil people. And that attitude remains largely in Christianity to this day, which is why Revelation's still really popular, because it's like, hey, all the bad guys get their just desserts. Haha, you losers, you shouldn't have been evil. And there's something really gratifying to a person. Like, Schadenfreude is a thing for a reason. We love to see people who are, in our mind, deserving of it get their just desserts. So to me, that kind of undergirds that impulse to like enjoy the suffering of people who you consider to be bad guys and who may have in some respect like harmed you or whatever. So that makes sense to me, but I'm not a psychologist, just a spitballing here.
Super interested in that conversation, but I would say potentially.
Okay, because for me, the problem is that if you have God explicitly commanding this to happen,
Okay, pause.
I think you're asking the Bible to do what it wasn't
Pause.
intended to do, is what I would say.
sure. Hey, thanks.
You've been
Yeah.
voted out. Please return to your
Appreciate it.
seat.
Oh goodness.
I'm sitting.
Please.
This
Okay.
guy
He
was
touched it
Rough
first.
very
in, man.
eager.
If he touched it first, then yes.
I need to get down the adrenaline
This
just
one?
a little bit after that run.
The
Yeah,
guy
I
who
think,
sat down in
what
the
you bring
chair is
interesting.
very
Like,
eager.
I think, you know, if we were to look at the literal definition of Bible, I think we can see that God commanded a person to commit genocide. So I think we're aligned there.
I mean, the definition of genocide.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with that
Okay.
being said, though, I think when we look at Christian theology in the full, when Adam and Eve decide to disobey God, technically we're all, you know,
Oh,
subjected
okay.
to death, subjected to the wages of sin, the penalty of sin.
There we
I'm
go.
not a perfect person.
Pause it.
I deserve
Pause it.
worse.
How do you
They had
feel
coming.
about? Okay.
That's his defense. They had it coming.
We all deserve genocide. Is that what he's pretty much trying to say, right? Like,
We're all deserving of genocide, guys. All of us.
Yeah. That's an unfortunate position.
I think he's right. The Bible says so. No, I'm kidding.
Ugh.
How do you feel about that, Josh?
I guess it just depends on how you define Bible. So
Right. So based on our definition. Yeah.
Poor guy's face too when he's doing it. He's
This guy
I
looks
agree it's there,
yeah.
but listen, let me tell you why you deserve to die right now. Like-
yeah.
Right now, you deserve like the worst possible, like, you know, like right now.
see, I didn't say that. The Bible did. Because, and see, I'm not responsible for any of the blowback that you would give to me for telling you to deserve to be killed, because really it was the Bible saying it. So I can just tell you you're going to hell. It's fine.
You can tell this guy is super nervous though.
Yeah. I mean, look, who wouldn't be? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you're in front of 25 people. You're on the spot. And
Mhm.
that's the problem about this whole hip fire thing too. Like you have to really
Kind
be
of is, right?
prepared.
You
Huh.
you never know. You never know what you might say. You might come out and say word for word. It you know
Word for word?
Word for word. So you never know how this is gonna go down or what's gonna happen. So
And yeah, off the cuff debates, that is a completely different skill set that you have to cultivate than just discussing things that you do for your day job, right? That's why you guys put out like really good videos and they're really strong. And then it's like you get better at debates as you go because you train those muscles. So yeah.
Mm.
unless it's something that you know really well that you can get
Mhm.
up in 4 a.m. and
Yes.
expound upon, right?
Exactly.
Someone's wrong on the internet.
Sorry, guys.
Right. And that's because
Yeah.
and the only reason why I'm happily breathing is because, you know, Jesus saved me, right? And so when we look at this pretense, like
That's it.
because we fell,
That's it, guys. Pause it.
What did he say? I'm
What does
happy
that mean?
breathing, he said, because Jesus saved me, or
That's it.
is it the happily
breathing.
part or the breathing part?
Oh, did he say happily? I thought he said halfway breathing.
I mean, you know what? I've heard it both ways.
I know.
I'm such a millennial. I
that's-
keep thinking, I am barely breathing and I can't find the air. No, I'm kidding. Imagine you're there. Oh,
you could
so whatever.
like, this is the stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm sitting here and I see this all the time with people who are kind of in the bubble trying to explain, and they have to every other sentence. It was the Lord who did it, and we lean into the Lord. We're thankful. loved ones that are going through tough times, or they have medical issues that are going on, and they're leaning into the Lord, and it's all our prayers in the Lord, and it's like the Lord, and if it weren't for Jesus and him and the prayer and the Heavenly Father, and you're like, what about the medical physicians that are the team operating? What about the medicine? What about the science that we've actually collectively as a human species come
But God worked through them.
Yeah. So
God
like,
worked through them.
clearly this guy's breathing because he's right. Jesus is the reason. So
Okay.
I know this is a very unpopular thing. God can do whatever he wants, right? Whether it's, genocide, putting us to death, we've talked about suffering and all these things.
So can I ask you a question?
That's
Do it
gross.
all.
Suppose
Yeah.
that you woke up tomorrow and you've
Yeah,
been
it
sort of
is.
transported into Canaan. You wake up and you're a Canaanite.
Yeah.
And you think you haven't done anything particularly wrong, but you're a bad person. You're a sinner, right? And then the Israelites come knocking at the door, and you know that they've been sent by God. And they come to your door, and you say to yourself, well, I know that this is the will of God. Even though it's really horrible, God can do whatever he likes. So you say, please don't kill me, Mr. Israelite. Instead, let me first betray my family to you because I know it's the will of the Lord. Would you allow
do
that
you
to happen?
notice something? Pause.
What's this?
Notice how many flags start coming up, and all Alex is doing is asking a question. This guy has already shown his caliber of skill that when Alex starts asking a very pressing question, everybody's like, get him out of the seat. Get him out of
Yeah,
kinda
it's
like
because they
it, yeah.
know, right? They're like, oh God, this guy's
Yeah.
this
That's
guy's
what that
done
means.
for.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
starting to catch on. I'm starting
yeah.
to catch
Look,
on.
watch
I thought they
the-
were saying like, we don't like what you're saying, Alex. I thought that's it, but no, clearly.
No,
that's
it
not
is.
what
It's a combination of that. Of course, they don't like it, but they don't think this guy's going to be able to handle what's happening.
Yeah.
Watch the flag numbers. Watch.
Yikes.
And they come to your door, and you say to yourself, well, I know that this is the will of God. Even though it's really horrible, God
Bottom
can do
left,
whatever he
ready.
likes. So you say, please don't kill me, Mr. Israelite. Instead, let me first betray my family to you because I know it's the will of
Oh,
the
yeah.
Lord. Would you allow that to happen?
I will contest it with this, right? We all fall short of the glory of
Wow,
God. It says
eh?
that in Romans,
Oh
right? So, like,
no.
whatever I'm subjected to, I'm not entitled to a good life. Like,
Okay.
I think even me
You're
living
not
is
entitled to a
a gift
good
from
life.
God. The fact that I can talk to you is a gift.
Do you think that applies to
The
like
fact
infants?
that I can
This guy-
talk to you.
This guy, I'm guessing, is just a stellar evangelist. He's just oh hey,
Somebody's echoing.
somebody is echoing. I
I
think
added Maya.
yeah, Maya's on,
Hey,
and I think you're echoing.
Hi.
Hi.
God.
So
Okay, this is working.
oh good. Oh,
Can
it
you hear
is
me?
still echo. Yes, but
Yeah,
it's
that
really
echo really-
echoing.
Okay. Sorry, I'm having an issue. I'm going to mute and then jump back.
Perfect.
All right.
Sorry to interrupt, guys. I just was trying to.
But
Yeah,
I think. Sorry, I was just going to say one of the things that I think people miss when they make this argument is I think it's leaning too heavily into like philosophical arguments because making statements like God can do whatever he wants, that's not actually biblical, right? When you look at sorry, somebody will accuse me of univocality, but when you look at the Psalms, for example, or even what Abraham says, like there are requirements, there are expectations set. Will not the judge of all the earth do what is right? There are standards to which God is expected to be held, right? So the reason that the psalmist praises him is because of the good that he does, right? So this notion that God can just do whatever he wants and therefore it's good, I think is just philosophically, it's coloring the text using a philosophical argument that I don't think is, I don't think you can derive that from the text. Does that make sense?
yeah, it's definitely, I think it's a predetermined conclusion that, oh, God is good, so anything God does is good. Even the bad stuff is good. That
That's
is an unfortunate corner to paint yourself into.
Yeah, I mean, but like God could not have gone down to Sodom and Gomorrah and wiped out the just with the unjust, right? At least in Abraham's eyes.
No,
Because he
Mhm.
would
That's
not
right.
have been the judge of all the earth. He would not have been doing what is right. So it doesn't work this way. But again, I mean, I understand why he's saying those things, right? Because it's it's sort of looking at the biblical text through this philosophical lens. But yeah, I think it's problematic if you're going by the text.
Also, this guy the Daniel? Is that his name? I forgot who
the guy on the
challenger.
right,
Yeah.
the challenger.
Yeah.
I don't remember
I
what
feel
his
so
name
bad
is.
because I'm like, man, you should really get some self-esteem. Like, you should want better for yourself. Talking about how crappy
Right?
you are and how little
Yes.
you deserve and all that. Like, man, fight back. You should be confident. Like, love yourself. What the heck?
Look, he's happily breathing. Shanti, come
Thanks
on.
to Jesus.
Thanks. It's the only reason.
That's the reason.
It does
So-
have, as Nietzsche points out, those slave kind of the slave mentality there in that rhetoric he's using. I'm lucky to be able to breathe right now. I'm happily breathing. Thank you. Can I have the crumbs? I mean, like, that's how it sounds. He's like, it's like a desperate plea for it's unfortunate that that's built into the whole ideology
Yeah.
that we find.
Yeah. It makes you really
Sorry, am I still
susceptible to
echoey?
love bombing and that
Oh.
kind of manipulative positivity. You know?
Maya, were you trying to talk?
I was just asking if you could hear me and if I'm still echoey.
Yes and no.
That the echo's gone. Yes. So,
Yes, we can hear you.
Wasn't
No,
a
it's not.
confusing response.
I know. I was like, well, clearly you can hear me. So is the echo not gone?
you fixed it.
All right, cool.
So
Well, since I have everybody's attention. No, I think, I mean, this is baked into, Christianity. And I came out of the womb and straight into, the baptismal thing because I'm Catholic. Well, I was born and raised Catholic. I know, Dr. Josh, you were Christian for a while. I know, Dr. Kipp, you were Christian for a while. And I mean, that it's kind of how they bill it. It's like what Matt Dillahunty says. Like, they give you the illness and they give you the cure. And that's how you stay in, and that's how you don't think about, what you think about, because, about the gaps or the logical fallacies. Because if you did that, nobody would come to church and give them money every week.
I really need to address this in the chat. This guy Mike says, based on what we see in Palestine, would hesitate to say that Judaism's moved past the Old Testament ethic. Excuse the hell out of you. Hello, I'm a Jew literally wearing a Palestine shirt with a keffiyeh on my chair, and a lot of Jews are standing up for Palestinian rights because we consider it to be outside Judaism. So you should check that attitude at the door there, buddy.
Hey, real quick, if you're super chatting, thank you, of course, for the help. But if you have questions or anything you want to contribute, the GoFundMe is pinned in the comment and in the description. And if you have any questions, feel free to support Kipp. Look, we got 413 people here. Real quick, we might as well come to this window. Kipp needs your help. And hopefully, as a community together, it isn't too difficult if we can take some of this guy's ideas. Right, where did I stop sharing? Crap. This one right here, and just be happily giving just a little bit to stay alive. You know what I mean? I'm totally kidding. Please help out our friend Kipp, Dr. Kipp Davis. He's trying to do more, and he's going to continue to keep educating the world and bring more work out that he's been diving into his specialty and educate. So if you can help in any way, go to the GoFundMe, help support him. He's looking for a computer, new camera. Go ahead, Kipp.
Just so yeah, I mean, what I did want to say, one of the reasons why we're directing people to the GoFundMe is because YouTube takes like 30% of whatever you give through super chats or things like that. Also, I did want to say, I mean, I very much appreciate that people have been throwing money in. This is fantastic. Nobody has posted any questions or comments as near as I can see. Yeah, look at that, 1,835 already. To the donations, but if you want to ask questions, that's the best way. to do it. Just there should be something there where you can indicate that that you want to say something, or you can make a comment.
Kipp,
But
I want to say something because I
Okay.
think it's really important for people to recognize that didn't you have a patron that went to be with the Lord recently? And while that's really sad, that person was a heavy contributor. And, now that's created his passing has created a huge strain on you. And that's what we really want to focus on right now. And isn't that right?
my needs are very, very important here. Yes. There's probably some poor people who are completely lost here. Josh, this is a very, very deep cut. If you
But
know,
I
you
said
know.
that.
But
I said that, and today when I was making dinner, and Megan was like, "That was the most cringe moment
yeah,
that I've seen on YouTube." We should
I
probably
think
share
it
it at
was.
some point.
We should. I dug up. I think I dug up the Facebook post today from 3 years ago. But
Oh,
yeah, are you lost?
spill the
Vish?
tea.
Are you?
Spill the tea. What's going on with that?
I think I sent that to you, didn't I, Derek?
So should I
The-
tell
the-
people what that is?
The
Simply
Facebook
put?
post. Yeah, sure. Let them
Okay,
know.
Capturing
because I'm-
Christianity, Cameron Bertuzzi had someone
3
who
years
was like
ago.
a major
This was
player.
3 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Major player financially. This person died. So then he made a post to fill in the gaps of their ministry income wise. They used this dead person as kind of a ministry kind of
It was so awful.
Oh,
It was like, yeah.
Well, let me
So
pull
look,
it up.
Frank died, right? And yeah, his family. But think about
He-
me.
I'm not gonna.
Wow.
About the struggles that I'm having now.
I'm not gonna use it.
Oof.
We'll use Frank here, but it says, but Capturing Christianity actually posted this on Facebook. It's very possible that Frank believed in capturing Christianity more than anyone. Frank
Ooh.
was a giver. He began donating $250 per month to Capturing Christianity a couple of years ago, simply because he saw value in what we were doing. When I lost my job, he quintupled his contribution to $1,250 a month. He regularly funded giveaways. In July, he was planning. He knows this he has this on good authority. He was planning on increasing to $1,500 a
Ooh.
month.
So he's projecting
Ouch.
onto the dead
This
guy.
is like this is like in Arrested Development when Carl Weathers is like, I'm looking at $4,000 in medical bills here.
On June
Crazy.
24th, Frank passed away suddenly in his sleep. His passing has created a substantial financial need for
Oh,
Capturing
wow.
Christianity. If you'd like to donate toward this need, which in my view would be a way of honoring Frank, click the link below.
Oh,
By
Not
the way,
give to his
all
family.
your contributions are tax deductible.
Not give to his
Oh my
family to cover
God.
funeral costs. Give to me, my ministry. Like I'm not.
I
Even,
am quite
Ugh.
sure he was getting ready to give a one-time donation of $3 million.
I'm pretty sure.
Name it
Pretty
and claim
sure.
it, baby. Give your seed gift today.
and I
We'll
wonder.
send you an anointed prayer cloth that I
Please don't
personally
give your
prayed
seed
over.
to me, people. I don't.
Do you think
Goodness
he ever realized like the criticisms he got? Like, do you think he ever internalized and realized like he just used someone's death as a means to like project that this guy believed in me so much for
It's gross.
using his death
So
as
nuts.
you see what I'm saying?
Gross.
I hope he recognized that because
I hope so. Because wow.
Jeez.
Kind of nuts, right? So,
All right. Look,
so just
that
to be
means
clear,
donate
if you're
the gift.
not doing that, is that correct? You're
I'm
not doing that. Okay.
as far as I'm aware,
All your patrons are still
all of my
alive.
patrons are still
Who financially supports YouTube channels? Crazy.
I know.
Thank you for your support. Listen, just in case I do pass away, I am a major contributor to Kipp. And
Yeah, whenever I do pass away, I was just about to triple my giving.
I was going to give him the rest of my income in my bank, which is 7 digits. So, like, you know,
And I was getting ready to run because I know that that Mrs. Myth Vision would hunt me down.
No, she
And-
actually, on record from me, said she was giving all her money for all my children and everything to you.
Oh,
That's how much we
okay.
believe
Alright.
in you.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So, all right, let's continue. Again,
All right.
contribute to Dr. Kipp Davis's YouTube channel. You know, we appreciate the support.
Yes, unfortunately, yes. I know it's an unpopular opinion.
So you think infants are
there's a
deserving of
reason
the
for that.
treatment they're given in 1 Samuel?
I think because we all fell, yes.
I'm sorry.
That's
you've been
it.
voted out.
Sorry.
Please return to
All
your
good.
seat.
We all deserve it, guys.
Including infants.
Oh, so many.
This guy's back.
Good to meet you.
Oh no.
Hey, how's it going?
He really wants
Okay, I disagree.
this.
I love to look at the case of the Amalekites in 1 Samuel 15.
Sure.
So 1 Samuel 15, it says, he uses that phrase, every man, woman, child, and then the lists off the animals,
Yep.
right? So we presume that by the end of that, if only Agag and the animal comes back.
Pause
they're
it
all
for a
dead.
second,
They're
Derek. Pause it for a second.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know, because I think I'm the only one who's watched this already. Because I think all three of you are coming in fresh, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before he answers, what do you think he's going to say here as the excuse for First Kings? Sorry, 1 Samuel chapter 15. The instruction to kill all the men, women, children, all the livestock, everything. What's the apologetic here? Can you guess the apologetic?
My guess is
It
they
would never
started
be.
it.
They started it. Okay,
That's my
Vishati
guess.
says they started it.
I mean, I want to say hyperbole. This is
Josh
ancient Near Eastern war rhetoric.
hyperbole. Yeah.
Yeah, that idea of it wasn't not every single thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Figure of speech.
that somehow takes away from kill a lot of them. Okay, just yeah. But I don't know. Should
All
we
right.
play?
Yeah. Let's see what this. See what he
Kipp's
says.
like he can't wait to see what.
Sorry.
Okay.
Show up
Right.
later
Again,
in
in
chapter. Yeah.
chapter 27 and in
Yeah.
chapter 30. Even King Agag, his descendants come up in the book of Esther.
Yes.
So like if we're saying, just for example, we have verification that there are children related to the Amalekites who must have been there because it's Agag's children, where else would they be? And they're alive because his descendants go on through Haman, which comes up in Esther. So
Yeah.
how do you reconcile
There are a few
that?
things to say. Firstly, one of the points where some of the Amalekites come up again,
Mhm.
it's explicitly said that these are people who escaped. These are people who escaped. And so it's possible that God commanded that all of Amalek was destroyed. And the word harem there means utterly destroy.
Mhm.
That might also involve a driving out of the land. So it's possible that some of
Oh,
them escaped.
pause it there
and that's
for a
where we-
second, because and I actually texted Alex about this. And this is something I am really starting to feel more compulsion to correct on the fly on the regular basis, because I think Christian apologists, all you guys watching, I know you're out there.
All three of them.
Please stop saying that Adam carries with it the sense of driving people out. Even Alex repeated this, right? And I assume he repeated this because this is something he's heard. This is something that gets repeated all the time. Josh has gone through the entire catalog of the usages of this specific word in the Old Testament. I've done it myself. We've both drawn really, really similar conclusions about this word. If you look at, and wouldn't you know it, the conclusions that Josh and I drew about the usage of this word, haram is the verb, cherem is the noun, within the Old Testament, actually looks very much like all the entries in the lexicons and in the dictionaries, the theological word study dictionaries for the Old Testament as well. So it doesn't mean to drive out. When it's applied in context as it is in Joshua, it's pretty clearly with reference to total extermination. And that is without exception.
So you mean there's a chance? Thinking of Dumb and Dumber. I actually have the clip here. It's probably better if I just let
Samsonite.
You mean not good like 1 out of 100?
I'd say.
Let's not do that right now. Continue.
Get the descendants from. That seems totally plausible to me. The question is, did God command a genocide? By the way, genocide includes forcible expulsion from somebody's land in a case of ethnic cleansing.
Sure.
What I'm looking at here is, did God command the ethnic cleansing of the land of Israel from people like the Amalekites, people like Ai, people like Jericho? And I think the answer is clearly yes. Like, for example, do you think that any innocent children, maybe let's not use the word innocent for theological reasons, but do you think that any infants were killed in the destruction of Amalek?
I have no idea. I don't think that it's recorded.
Okay, but you think that God definitely commanded the killing of...
No, I don't think. I think.
But it said the. Okay.
Doesn't it say women and children? Like all their cattle, all their men, women, and children? So infant, I mean, you're going to say the term child is different than infant, just like toddler is different from, I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's a broad statement, right? That it implies every life.
Either way, this guy realizes the implications, and that was a dodge. Him saying, well, I don't know, that it's just a dodge. He knows that it meant everybody and everything, and is like, oh, that looks bad. Let me just try to like deflect that real quick. Ugh.
Good point.
I think that's hyperbolic phrasing, and I know I've heard you say it before. I heard you talk.
Josh
about
won it.
You've heard that before. That it's
Josh,
I think you can demonstrate it in Babylonian, Sumerian writings. Very similar.
Yeah.
There's an Egyptian stele. which
Even
says that
Dan's in the
Israel-
background going, yes!
Oh my God.
Yes!
Yeah.
What Sumerian writings is he referring to? I'd be interested in.
I don't know. Where they use the word Hera.
Oh yeah,
That's totally a
yeah, because like
Sumerian thing, isn't it?
Sumerian's not a language isolate or anything. It's fine.
was wiped out and their seed was utterly removed.
Yeah.
It was gone. And so we've got like comparable phrases used in other ancient Near Eastern communities in their historical texts that talk very similarly, but like we know that
And he
the Jews
doesn't cite
persisted
any.
to exist in Israel, even though the Egyptians said that they were no more. And that text explicitly says man, woman, and child. That's hyperbolic language that even we use today. Like, for example, in World War II, there's this huge
Whew. All right.
Doesn't it suck listening to them like, look, kill 100,000, don't kill the whole million, okay? Like,
Hey, can I interrupt for a second, because
Sure.
we actually got a question. People have been
oh,
donating.
you got a question on the GoFundMe?
Yeah.
Oh,
People
nice.
have been donating like crazy, and I super appreciate it. But Andrew Knight sent in $50, and he wanted to ask, who were Ephraim in the Dead Sea Scrolls? Were they related to the Ephraim in the Epistle of Barnabas? And I thought
Ooh.
that since Josh is here, he's easily the most qualified person to answer.
Yes, I am
this
a
question.
Dead Sea Scrolls specialist.
Also a specialist in the Epistle of Barnabas, I believe too, right? It's your jam, I think.
When are you dropping
so-
that paper on 4S dress?
So Andrew Knight, there are a variety of opinions. I'm afraid I can't comment on the appearance of this this cipher in the Epistle of Barnabas. And what's happening in the Dead Sea Scrolls is we see a lot of instances, a lot of situations throughout their text that they had written, where they use these ciphers, lots of coded language, mostly drawn from stories and from prophecies in the Old Testament, to make reference to specific groups of people contemporary to the people who were living in Qumran, writing and collecting the Dead Sea Scrolls. With now the unfortunate thing is that because they didn't include the what do you call that thing? The code breaker thing. What do you call that? There's a
I
word
call
for that.
it
Decoder ring?
The code ring? The
de-
decoder ring.
Decoder ring.
Yes. What did Josh call it? He said something like a smart ass, didn't he?
What?
Yes.
He would never.
I think he did. So, but anyways, we didn't get the decoder ring on half of these things, so scholars have to sort of sift through and sort through exactly what they think all of these mean, and most of the time we just don't have enough information to know. There's a few that we know with some confidence. For example, the Pharisees are pretty frequently referred to in the Dead Sea Scrolls as the seekers of easy things or smooth things, and
Smooth things,
very,
yeah.
it's very clever because it's a play on words. The seekers of smooth things is Doroshe Halekot, and it's a play on Doroshe Halakot,
Holocaust.
which is and halakot is the plural form of halakha, which was the way in which the early rabbis referred to their own ethic and their own teachings. So very clever, very, very clever play on words there. So we know that
There's one thing that Jews love, it is wordplay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
We
it is.
love that.
So
No.
there are a variety of opinions on who Ephraim refers to specifically. When it's used within the scrolls, it tends to be and because it's drawn from, by and large, from prophecies against the Northern Kingdom, these tend to be derogatory references. It could be the Samaritans. It could also be in some texts a reference to members of the Jerusalem priesthood. We just don't have enough information for most of those, and it seems possible too that they might be using the term in different ways. But I really, really appreciate the donation. I'm sorry I couldn't give you a clearer answer on that. But and thank
who the coded reference Esau is to changes with the empires that are empowered. Like you can trace that over like the course of various rabbinic commentaries. So I would be interested to see if anybody's doing work on Ephraim, like if it's a reference to like the Sadducee temple, elite, or who. That's kind of cool. I would love to see that.
Yeah, it's there has been work done on this, but yeah, I don't know about how current it is either.
Do you have a like a opinion,
reference,
a leaning,
or
a
no,
take?
no, sadly no. And this is one of these things. Like these are where Ephraim usually appears as a cipher, also tend to be texts that I haven't particularly spent a lot of time in as well either. So I would prefer to do a deep dive before weighing in. But before we move on, I just wanted to Samuel Hartman sent him $5 just to say that he's sorry to hear about Frank, and thank you for your work.
Oh my gosh.
So really appreciate it.
Thank you for thinking about Frank.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where's my handbasket? Straight to hell.
Put up every man, woman, and child is needed. Like that's, I can read that and go,
Yeah, sure. But so imagine, for example, I mean, there's a discussion at the moment about whether Israel is committing a genocide in Palestine today.
Sure.
Now, suppose a lot of people said, but you're killing children. And Israel said, yeah, but that's just a product of war. Imagine if we discovered that behind the scenes, Prime Minister of Israel had said, leave alive nothing that breathes. Kill everyone, kill man, kill woman, kill child and infant, kill the animals, kill the donkeys, don't leave anything alive that breathes. Even if he was
He
trying to
didn't
sort
have
of
to say
make a
behind the
hyperbolic
scenes.
point. The fact that children are then dying as a result, I think that we could lay some blame at his feet. Here we have God
Yeah.
saying that. Those are the words that are
This
reported. Also on the
I
point of
can speak
hyperbole, when
directly
we get to the
to
book of Joshua,
because
What's this?
Baby didn't say that behind the scenes. He actually quoted the Hebrew Bible and made reference to the Palestinians as Amalek when he was speaking to soldiers, so they would be extra motivated to go kill more of them. So it's not something that, like, oh, what if this happened? Look, it did. He was very clear, and he's taken a lot of heat for making that comparison, and also using rhetoric like children of light, children of darkness, and all that. Like, so the rhetoric is there, the genocide is happening. Like, I love that he's drawing this through line, because that was something they talked about at SBL, the Society of Biblical Literature conference. Josh, I really wish you had been. I love this panel. They were talking about how various people throughout the centuries have used the rhetoric there to justify their own genocides. Like Cotton Mather did it to the indigenous Native Americans. BB's doing it currently now. So yeah, it's a powerful panel. Good stuff.
Of the nation of Ai, it's explicitly said that 12,000 people died that day. All the people of Ai, it says. It does imply that some people ran away, because it says, I have it here in Joshua chapter 8, when Israel had finished killing all of the men of Ai in the fields and the wilderness where they had chased them. And by the way, earlier it says, not a man remained in Ai or Bethel who did not go after Israel, because Israel sort of draw them out of the city and they pretend to run away. And Ai runs after them. It says, not a man remained in Ai. It then says, when Israel had finished killing all of the men in the fields and the wilderness where they chased them, and when every one of them had been put to the sword, the Israelites turned around, returned to Ai, and killed everyone who was left. If there was not a man who was left in Ai who hadn't run out and been killed in the wilderness, when they turn around and kill everyone who's left, who is it that they're killing? It's the women, it's the children. We're then told that 12,000 people fell that day, all the people of Ai. And it says 12,000 men and women. So we know that women who were non-combatants were also killed.
Hold on there for a second. I think it's pointing. I think it was a good idea for Alex to go here in his response. I also want to point out that a couple things. In the first place, I was not inhabited at the time that the conquest is supposed to have happened. But also, I hope people can appreciate that a city of 12,000 people in the Levant.
That's massive.
It's in the 13th, 12th century. This is an enormous city. I think the largest city in the region is Hatzor, and I believe estimates are around 10 to 12,000 people lived in Hatzor at the time that it was destroyed. So this is a major, this is a big claim, and it's one too. I think it comes up with some frequency that when in the conquest narratives, mostly with regards to Jericho, right? And we'll talk a little bit about that at some point. It's coming up here fairly quick, I think. But a point that often gets made by Christian apologists that we encounter is that Jericho in particular is not a big city, and it never says it's a big city. The conquest account actually only identifies the one city, Hatzor, as a big city. Maybe Gibeah as well. I think it also identifies Gibeah as well. But it doesn't say that about AI either. And yet the numbers provided by the writer would certainly situate it as a major metropolis in the area.
Killed. Even if there's hyperbolic language being used here, we know that we're being told that specifically 12,000 people died, including non-combatant women.
Okay, so I think for the example in 1 Samuel 15, these are ancient texts. It's literature. So we don't like go over and above like how interpreting literature works. So even though like the text can saying this is what God said, well, it's still in a litery form.
Do you think God said that? Do you think it's
A
like,
literary
I mean, I
form.
wasn't there. I didn't hear it. I think that the Old Testament scripture is inspired, and I think that it doesn't fail in its representation of revealing God. Like, for example, like we
course
talked about in the
that.
New Testament, right? John chapter 2, he puts the temple expulsion moment at the beginning of his gospel. Do I think that John is actually concerned with the chronology there? No, I don't think that. I think it's a literary tool.
Sure.
And I think the Bible is full of that. They're literary texts, and they're assembled in a certain way. So I don't think that necessarily that means
Pause
that
it
God
there
was
for
the
a
one using
second.
hyperbole.
What's the argument there?
What? So it's not literature when it says.
No, he said it is literature.
Wait, let me finish. So
Okay.
it's not functioning as literature when it says like go genocide these bad people. But when you point out that it included women and children, he's like, no, it's just literature. Like, it's hyperbole. Like, pick a struggle. Either it's part of like the literary polemic, or it's documenting like stuff that actually happened, and then you have to actually account for the fact that it's morally reprehensible. He doesn't want to do that.
Sounds like he's again, look over here, doing anything to get off of what's actually happening and what Alex is trying to ask him. Like, did God say this? Did anyone die? I mean, because if the guy goes, okay, this didn't happen in history at all, then we'd have a different philosophical, like, what's the moral lesson of the myth? And is it a good myth? Well, probably not a good myth. You can't even find goodness in this in a literary sense. Like, if you really want to take it all the way down to the basics that this is mythology, if you go to our conclusions that this did not happen, it still does not give us a good, if anything, it's like, don't do this and don't be like this God depicted here at best,
Yeah, I mean, look, I think a really good example of this, and I want to say that it's Tiglath-Pileser the first, but I don't remember. But there's a royal inscription where it talks about how the enemy is very, very wicked, and the king is the pious, fear of Asher, and saying that he is doing all of these great things, follows it up immediately with this metaphor of he's the hunter, and like the enemy or the gazelles, and they're going to heat their blades up to go and slaughter the gazelle, and they're ripping open the pregnant women, right? In this context of he's a good king and he's doing what's right. I suspect that this young man would not turn and say, oh, now look, we can't go jump into conclusions about the Middle Assyrian Empire, or the Middle Assyrians. We can't do that, right? Like, this is literature, and what's the lesson here? And I don't think anybody's going to be doing that. And I certainly don't think this young man's going to do that. But that's because that's not a divinely inspired text to him. And I think this is the issue, is it pick a lane. If you're going to defend the text based on its genre, if you're going to stay with the internal frame of reference of the narrative, cool, do that. If you're going to say, unabashedly, I'm going to bring my theological framework and place it over this text and read it in light of that framework, fine. But stop mixing them. Don't do one for a minute if it's serving you well, and then when he asks you a biting question that presses against that, flip over and talk about historical critical method. Like, this is not, obviously this is not an honest way to engage the topic.
Yeah, I agree. Look at the kind of hoops they have to jump through for when it's their literature. Of course, they don't do this for anything else. So,
but that the scribe recording the events, and sort of summarizing what happened says, okay, so God commands to attack the Amalekites. But does that mean that God is the one who did the hyperbolizing? I don't.
Do you think it would be problematic? You mentioned the cleansing of the temple, and you said that even though the chronology is off, the point is recorded. If we had a story of the cleansing of the temple, if we discovered some early manuscripts, some version of John, where Jesus goes into the temple, he starts cleansing the temple, flipping over tables, and then he starts beating up children, just starts punching them because he's so angry, right? What would you think of that? You'd probably think either it didn't happen, or if you could prove that it did happen, that Jesus was less moral than you thought he was, or if for some reason people believe that that's what he did, I think it'd be a problem for you. And I think that if you're looking at a good God here, the fact that even this is reported as something that he said, and this is part of the Jewish tradition that basically nobody disputes, is at least theologically accurate.
Right, but you've yet
I
to
think that's a
demonstrate
problem.
children being killed in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
You haven't actually shown that. So yes, I would find that to be problematic.
Wait,
You haven't
what?
shown innocent children.
Wow.
He hasn't shown
Moses
children being
commanded
killed.
to kill children.
Right, but
Did he
Wow. He
forget
did say that.
literally the passage he just read, and also the flood, which killed everyone who
Hey.
I
Dr. Tapioca Weasel is here.
I decided I would compliment the wonderful choice of a bow tie that Dr. Josh has going on. Yeah, so represent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, this is the perfect time for me to tag team out when people start doing Holocaust denial in the chat and stuff like that. I'm just
Are you
going to take
checking
that as
out?
my cue to dip. So y'all have fun and keep them on the back foot. Check y'all
All
later.
right.
Bye, Kipp.
Thanks,
I hope you
Fish.
hit your goal like tonight, like
I
soon.
hope so. Yeah. That'd be
right.
awesome. Thanks, Fish.
Thanks.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Don't forget to donate via the
Oh.
GoFundMe, folks. Don't do super chat.
Well, thanks, Fish.
All
The juxtaposition there with you leaving as I join, and then highlighting that reason makes me look great.
It's very good. It really does. It does. Good. Now it's just, bunch of old
I'm gonna take the hat off.
old white guys here. That's perfect. So, but
whatever will we do?
I don't know. Yeah. There we go. We're watching a video, by the way. Dr. Tapioca Weasel. Did you notice?
I did.
Okay.
I thought it. I found the ability of them. The format where they all have to race.
Yeah.
Like somebody's gonna get hurt was literally my first response. It just seems irresponsible,
It does. You're right. It's very
true. That's what I chose to focus on because I do not have a background in any of this. I am absolutely unqualified to be here, and it's Kipp's fault. Kipp invited me, so I am not a biblical scholar or a historian or anything like that. I am a physicist. So yeah,
it's true. But go ahead,
I just wanted to ask, and I normally don't do this, but I've been sort of watching the side chat a little bit. There's an individual, Matt Dunlap. If you guys expect people to take this channel seriously, then you probably should stop taking little personal stabs and making jokes about your opponents and focus on their arguments instead. Now, I have MS, so my memory is not the greatest, but I'm pretty sure we've been attacking this kid's dumbass arguments.
Yeah.
So, Matt, if you'd like to be more specific about where you think we've gone awry, I'm here to entertain that just for you.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Shall we continue, gentlemen?
Well, before we do, I just thought I would say if people, I'm sure people in the chat know who Dr. Tapioca Weasel is. Maya was here earlier for a few minutes. They probably recognize her, but they do this every week on Sunday evenings.
Yep.
They both.
We have a show, Bad Science Sunday, and we react to our inclusion of science is very broad often, but yeah, we like to respond to bad arguments and stuff. Normally we don't cover videos like this because like a video like this already has such a good steel man in it in Alex. So
I've come to discover that I'm a bit of a kindred spirit in that I watch a lot of bullshit on on YouTube, and that's what happens on Bad Science Sundays, and it's
Yep.
fun. And I watch every Sunday night. So
And
y'all should too.
you were our most recent guest as well.
I was your most recent emergency fill-in guest.
Thank you.
True. So, but yeah. So thanks for being here and hanging out and watching this
Absolutely.
much better video than anything that you ever get to watch on your channel.
Yeah, we said yeah, we're really bottom feeders.
Awesome. We'll keep going.
We just talked through all of that.
So you think God was hyperbolizing?
I think
by
the
telling
scribe is
people to kill
hyperbolizing. I
innocent-
think the scribe is hyperbolizing God's
The
command.
scribe is hyperbolizing.
Okay, fine. So you think that the scribe has inaccurately recorded the command of God, therefore the Old Testament is unreliable.
Right. So like that's not the same thing though. I'm not saying the scribe made something up. I'm saying the scribe has a command.
So where did they
that's
get that command from?
From God, delivered through a prophet. So
But did God say to the prophet Samuel, "Leave alive nothing that breathes, kill every man and woman"?
I don't necessarily know that I would think that.
Okay, because if he did, then we've got the command to kill innocent children. If he didn't, then we've got a problem of the accuracy.
See, did
of
you
the
see?
Old
There
Testament.
she is. There's Lori. Look at her face. Seriously, she's just like,
I can't believe this. Hold on, let's go back.
where did they find these people?
Yeah. Like,
then we've got the command to kill innocent children. If he didn't, then we've got a problem of the accuracy of the Old
No,
Testament.
I don't agree with that at
it's
all.
almost like part of me wonders if it's not her talking about the Christians. Like, you ever met Christians who are so offended by being just bluntly honest about what you think about the Bible or stories? Like, since you've deconverted, because I don't know about our new friend here, but me, Josh, and Kipp, we grew up in conservative Christian backgrounds to where it's easily offensive to say, yeah, Jesus didn't rise from the dead, or sorry, he wasn't born of a virgin, virgins don't give birth, or whatever. And they look at you almost like, what did he just say? That's blasphemy. I mean, it seems more like that's a reaction than it is the Christian guy. But I don't know. Maybe I'm misinterpreting it.
I think that I definitely did not have quite as conservative a background. I did grow up a Christian, but I'm now an atheist. I didn't arrive at that actually through the typical process that I'm familiar with in our online community sort of thing, where people like really study it and arrived at it after taking it extremely seriously for a very long time. I kind of just realized I was an atheist one day in 2019, and I remember the moment. It wasn't when I realized, but I realized I had been one for years. And I don't actually engage much with, well, I guess people generally in my real life. But on the subject of religion specifically, very often. So but I definitely have seen that response, and I'm kind of like, is this really a surprise?
Wow. I'm gonna keep going, guys.
All right.
And I know because we got like 45 minutes before Josh is literally gonna run away from us, and I'll end up needing to get off soon anyway too when that happens. But let's try to get as much as we can, right?
Let's
Like I said, it's literature, right? So God can say something, and then the recording of the event can employ literary devices like hyperbole, what I think is happening. I want to go to Jericho and what you're talking about there, because you talked about that a lot more. I think, for example, like with Jericho, we have all the reason to believe that Jericho is a military stronghold. I think that's the case. I think
what he means by that is Richard Hess said that it was.
Pause it there for a second. We need to talk about this.
Richard Hess said that it was a military fort, so we have all the reason to think that it was. Oh God!
Yes.
Sorry, Kipp. Go ahead.
No.
That's just me making fun of
good.
him. I'm not actually giving a cogent argument. So
Right.
just mute back up.
So yes,
Give us the skinny so the audience knows they're not left in the dark.
Tell us about Richard Hess, Josh.
Oh, but there's an article it's an edited volume from I think it's early 2000s maybe, and he's looking at Jericho and and he's making the argument. It's kind of a weird, I don't know, hybrid sort of argument, but he's basically trying to say that How did it go? It was bootstrapping, is how I would describe it. Because he's saying the text is not saying that Jericho was big. How do we know that? Well, because archaeology tells us that it wasn't big. So that must mean that when the text calls it a city that's impenetrable, that must be able to describe a small city. How do we know that it was a small city? Because archaeology tells us that it was. And so that must mean what this text is saying. It's like, well, wait, like that's well, it's begging the question, right? Isn't that what it is? It's assuming it's one of the one of your premises is your conclusion. So but that's where he's getting this. So I guess that's really all it takes for so many apologists is there's an article somewhere by an evangelical apologist or an evangelical scholar that says it, then you can just go on down the road with it, right? Unfortunately, that's not how things work in academia. So
even better if it's a secular scholar, then they can really be like, well, I mean, even this guy.
Yep.
Israel going in and just sort of like
so
killing
I've heard this
for
too.
no reason, right? It's a military conquest.
Killing.
I think you'd be hard pressed to
reason.
find a single nation in all of human history
But this is
that was founded
listen.
without violence.
Stop for a second.
Oh,
Because has this guy read the story? Because like they're killing everyone. Sorry. What?
Sorry, just the fact that how Hess tries to deal with the fact that Rahab, and then it says, and all of her family and brothers and sisters, like it's this is just all part of the military. You know, I guess they're all part of it.
Did he call it? I think he actually called it the military-industrial complex, didn't he?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he did in the article.
What? I mean, you can't make this shit up.
But this poor kid here, is trying to say that this was just, it was a military exercise. They're just, they're just at war. This is what people at war do. Within the text, they're given a specific instruction. You are to offer the cities up as a cherem offering. These are, total destruction, total annihilation. You are not to let anything live. You are to kill man. It says in the account with regards to Jericho, kill young and old, woman and child, I think, and animals. Like it's quite specific. So no, nobody should think that this was just senseless killing for no reason. This was senseless killing for in satisfaction of pretty specific divine prerogatives. I think it's important to point that out here.
We need mods to clean up any chat that clearly gives off all sorts of extremely toxic stuff. So please, if you would, if you're a mod, help out in the chat. Be mindful and look for anything that's clearly not okay. All right, we're going to keep going. But yeah, Josh, good eye.
Oh,
right,
totally,
that's never happened. I understand why you would say it's problematic that God is instructing that, which I get.
God would not instruct that. I mean, my country is thought of as beginning in 1066 with the Norman invasion, right? And it may be, I can imagine there was some report that said that, the king was shouting, kill them and then go and kill their wives and then go and kill their children, show no mercy. I can totally see someone saying that and them not being taken literally. But if God says that, this is still part of the eternal scripture of God that people have in their pews, that's in the hotel rooms. I don't know so much anymore in secular America. If you open it up to a random page, especially given the undertones of what's happening in the world right now.
Well, honestly, I'm not like, if I'm going to be completely honest, I think in the book of Genesis, when God leads Abraham to the promised land, he says to them, I'll bring you back here in several generations when the Amorite sin is filled up. Like that language when the bucket is all the way filled.
Yes, they're sinful. They're sinful people.
Right. So I understand why that can be problematic, but when I read the text, I believe that God is allowed to judge people, being that he created everything, and he's allowed to use human beings to do that, including sinful human beings.
Okay, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
All right. The next one's right after this, or should I fast forward a little?
Let's see. Sorry.
Are we doing Sodom and Gomorrah, all that, or the intermarriage one? I don't know.
You're wondering if we should fast forward? Yeah, just I don't know. Just I think. Well, what time is it now? Let's just let it play for a bit, I think.
So keep going,
and then we can. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And then yeah,
we could do a round 2 at some point if we have to, or whatever.
I guess we could. Yeah.
Stan.
Oh, look at that.
All right, really quick, before we begin the discussion, I'm going to give you this gift and also use my point for the topic of genocide.
Okay.
Because you're saying that God commands genocide, correct? So you're making this God sound like a very hating God. That like
not necessarily
commands
hateful, just genocidal.
like genocidal. Okay, so here's this personal gift I would like to give to you. It says, cast your anxieties because he cares for you. The way how you're portraying this God when you say that very broad statement of God commanding genocide, I disagree, because in the beginning of the Bible, God is love. At the end of the Bible, God is love. Our fellow peer, he stated that our God is a very just God. So can we argue that or say that even though this God perhaps like in the beginning of the Old Testament, that's where the genocide occurs a lot, we can also say that.
So do you think genocide does occur?
If it did say that in the Bible, I just want to say that like these people also went to heaven. It's not like they're getting like killed and punished in that moment.
It's the William Lane Craig argument.
Women and children and taking them with him.
Yeah, I mean, look,
argument-
when the Neo-Assyrians, came in and it talked about skinning people and posting heads all around on state. Listen, all those people, they got to go be with Asher, right? So I mean, goodness, should we really even be criticizing that at all? I don't understand.
Lee, people in the chat are saying she's very well, some are saying she was annoying during this, but you can tell it's very like she is very worked up. The other people held their nerves a lot better than she is, and you can tell she's worked up.
Yeah, it kind of got to her head a little bit.
Okay, I have a question then. Do you think it's okay to kill people because they'll eventually just go to heaven anyway after you kill them?
It's not about killing. It's just like
Are people who get abortions doing their unborn children a favor by killing them in the womb, therefore giving them a fast track to heaven?
This is a different approach to genocide, but I just want to say like
I don't think you get to inflict a genocide and then sort of just make up for it with the fact that you send them to heaven afterwards. I mean, maybe you do, but the problem is that the Israelites are also sinful people. And when the Israelites are sinful, they get the prophet of God with literal stone tablets telling them how to correct their path. The Canaanites are sinful people. And when they're sinful people, they get the Israelites coming in and wiping them out of their own
our
land.
God is a just God. And I feel like even
that's
though
what
they're
I'm critiquing. That's what
if
I'm
they're
critiquing.
sinful
All
people,
right,
they had
pause. You've been voted out.
By the way, I don't want to derail, but I just listened to Julian the Apostate's critique against the Galileans. One of his criticisms, he called the Christians the Galileans because they're a cult from Galilee. And one of the things he argues, which we've lost a lot of it, we only found preserved very little of this overall massive piece critiquing Christianity. One of the biggest problems he found was that you want us to believe in this particular oracles from this particular nation, whereas when you go to ours, which he's a pagan trying to argue for the broader, all the deities, he goes, we're all universal and everyone is equal. They have specific oracles to their specific nation only through their particular bloodlines and all this kind of stuff. It's exclusive. And the way that, if you take Alex's argument just now, he's like, hold on. So kind of like you talked about Asher, Josh. It's like, okay, only the Israelites, they're just as sinful. Everyone's just as sinful as everyone, technically. Israelites are just as sinful as these Canaanites, yet they get the oracles. They get the inside scoop and the prophets and all that. They're fortunate enough, according to this worldview. But the people on the outside aren't. Where are the oracles helping try to turn the Canaanites from their sins? It's like he wants their sin to fill up so that he can go and eradicate them. It's almost like part of the narrative that he wants them to do enough bad so that, ooh, now we can go and slaughter these people.
That's actually part of the story, right? In the book of Genesis.
I'm sorry, Kipp, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say, like, we don't even have to go to Canaan to see this. If you read Deuteronomy 20, 10-14, you see the marching orders of the nation. And the text is explicit that all the people that are in the land get utterly wiped out. But just, I hate saying that, set that aside for a second, because they don't, they want to make apologetic arguments for it. What do you do with the cities that are far off? Because the problem in the text is that the marching orders are, you approach them and make them your vassals. This is a best case scenario for that city. So if they open their gates and they say, we're in, they become the Gibeonites, right? They become your vassals, and you can pull them for corvée labor, whatever you want. But if they put up a fight and they close the gates, then they're to lay siege. And when the city is delivered, they're to emasculate it, right? Kill all of the men. Mm-hmm. And then you take the women and the children and the livestock and the goods as your plunder, which is why we see what happens in Numbers 31. It fits the description quite well. So you can't make the argument that the cities far off were all wicked, and that's what God was doing, was sending the Israelites out, because you don't make vassals out of these horribly wicked people, right? They get an offer of peace. So it just doesn't fly for the cities that are far off.
It is too bad that Joel couldn't be here, and he could distract us all with his new theory about how all the Canaanite cities were offered peace terms. So.
Oh, they voted her out fast. Okay.
They did. Is it because she's a girl?
Actually, a lot of it was also just edited out because she went for 4 minutes.
Oh, did
really?
she? Oh,
yeah, they have the
really?
clock there. They have the clock there. She
Wow.
went for 4 minutes. They just edited like
Man.
3 of those minutes out. So
Wow.
Now I want to know what she said.
Give us the raw.
It's through and through
nothing.
condemn Israel
Yeah.
in much harsher terms. And in fact, God dispersed them in much greater judgments because they were, and in fact, in Ezekiel, it says that because you were supposed to be the light of the world, you are judged all the more strictly and are more responsible. So God was just with Israel. And in fact, he placed more of a burden and a mantle and a responsibility on them and judged them for it than he did the nations. And case in point, what's already brought up was the number of generations that passed before the Amalekites were judged and the Canaanites were judged.
Yeah.
But we can come back to that point.
Okay, but can I ask you then?
Yes.
How do you define genocide?
Right. If I may, I actually have a question I wanted to ask you first.
I think it's important to know what we're talking about.
I
here,
understand.
Right? What is a genocide?
Based on the word genome, obviously etymologically, we understand that you're taking it as a tribal seed line, which is fair. I
Yeah, it could be
understand that.
tribe,
Sure.
religion,
Sure.
ethnicity,
So I can
race.
understand
And we're
that.
talking about the destruction or attempted destruction.
But here's the
or,
problem.
Or
Here's the problem.
expulsion
Right.
of people based on
Let's
their
hear the
character.
problem.
Here's the problem. Genocide, especially the way it's used today, it implies that it's based on the race.
Mhm.
And that is categorically against the command of God to conquer the Canaanites. It had nothing to do with their race. It had to do with their sin. And in fact, this is
So you know that when Amalek is
Pause it
attacked,
for a second.
Sure.
Israel first.
And I'm interested I mean, how do you feel about that one, Josh?
Well, it sounded like he said two different things. He
Right.
said it wasn't based on it, and then he said, I think it was actually reversed order. It was explicitly, like commanded not to be that way. Like it's explicitly not supposed to be about that.
The
You know,
weasel's
the idea
muted.
that
Yeah, I fixed it.
Oh, okay.
sorry.
No.
I was going to say, I don't remember God explicitly say, like, I don't remember the commands to not base anything on race in the Old Testament, but
it's because race wasn't a thing.
It wasn't.
You don't say.
I just don't understand the logic here. I mean, if the only argument is that God was an equal opportunity ass, I mean, okay, sick flex.
That's right.
Did we get kicked off YouTube?
Did what?
What?
I was looking at the chat. We got suspended. It looks like the stream is not on YouTube anymore.
Oh no! Fuck! It's because It's because of the. It's probably because of the copyright.
Jeez, guys.
Right? Oh, that sucks.
That's stupid.
Damn it!
Dude,
they might put us back on. This happened to Maya and I a couple weeks ago, and I know other streamers that it's happened to. If we just hang out for a moment, they might just put us back on. We're back on.
Are we back on?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Okay.
Yeah,
I assume
just
you're
heard
watching.
my voice echoing. So
can people tell us? Are we back on? People in the chat too. That's wild, eh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow.
See, I'm an oracle.
Yes, you are.
You are. You literally predicted that. Oh my! What are the odds?
It's
science.
Physics,
probable,
right?
Joe.
That's
Odds is probable. That a bear would be in a bear cave like 100%.
I'm looking to see if it's like.
Thank the
It's saying it's fine on my end now, and it's not even acting like there's a monetization issue. So that's weird.
No, right? Yeah, that's wild.
Either it's like a weird glitch that recovers, and everybody mocked me when I suggested that this is what happened. Or they actually have somebody who briefly reviews it and is like, oh wait, no, this got flagged because the word genocide came up many times. But it's not actually problematic. But then everybody was like, YouTube doesn't care.
Jeez.
Alpha Centurion
back to killing people because God said so.
Yeah. Alpha Centurion actually sent you a super chat and said that he's donating to my skateboard fund because he knows that I don't skateboard. But he says that they're copyright strike happy. They even hit B.S. Lewis.
Well,
who would hit B.S. Lewis, guys? Like,
sad.
It is.
Worries me too. Dang. Okay. What? Like that's why I was sharing the screen the way I did.
Yeah.
I was
right.
Trying to do it where it takes less the screen. It's not taking up. Like, look at how I have it. Right. It's a very small window within the broader. Like.
Yep.
I'm trying to make it a small. Yeah.
You're totally fine. Everything about this is fair use.
I think so.
We do content like this. Like a lot. Maya does yell at me to press pause more often. Because you do want to like chopping it up in time also helps. But yeah.
Kip, we could just put BHS up on the screen and translate for people.
There we go. Will people donate money if we translate BHS for
oh my God.
Or will you donate money to keep us from doing that?
There we go.
All right, I'm gonna keep going. Then.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I think keep going.
Just we'll pause it every minute or so, and then.
Yeah, at least.
Okay.
But yeah.
Warns another tribe that they're coming.
Yes.
And says, get out of here because you were good to us when we came out of Egypt.
Right.
Amalek battled them when they came out of Egypt.
Yes.
He says to this other tribe, you guys get out of here. They warn them, right?
Right.
They don't say, hey, you get to stay here. They say, you've got to go,
Yeah.
but we're going to warn you first that we don't totally destroy you.
That's right.
In other words,
Absolutely.
it does seem to be, I mean, why is it
And
that
the flags
Israel
are
is going
coming
into
up.
this land? The nation, why are they going into this land? Because it was the land promised to them by God. Why does it need to be cleansed? Because there are people in that land.
Deuteronomy
And
chapter
that's
7.
supposed to be there.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, chapter 9.
So pause it for a second, because I think that's an important point to make that Alex made is we can't underemphasize the close connection that the commandment to destroy all the Canaanites has to the idea of ritual purification. A major component of this sort of what's happening in these texts is that in order to make the land basically livable for Yahweh, you have to get rid of all those icky people. They're polluting it. Is an English translation that's often used, that they're polluting the land. They're making it unfit for divine habitation, for his habitation. They have to get rid of them. So there, I did my part to interrupt
to mitigate. We just got suspended again.
Oh God, really?
You've
Yeah.
got to be kidding me.
Wow.
Nope.
Oh, that's crazy.
Policy violations?
Is it showing up now?
That is
not
odd.
yet.
It's saying policy violations right now. I mean, yeah.
Shoot.
If you want, I can like do a share screen thing and have it like at the bottom so that you can have like an in-frame live view of it.
I don't see why it should.
It's not really.
It's coming back. It's got to come back, right? When you think.
Yeah, that's what it. Yep, there it is. It's back.
We're back.
Yep.
Dude,
wow.
I'm worried that it's going to keep doing this.
It's probably going to keep doing it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what? I tell you what we can do is I'll beatbox and Kipp, you can freestyle rap. You ready?
There you go. You got your Huckleberry.
Come on, Kipp, let's go.
This is I'm on the YouTubes and I'm
Look,
oh God.
I feel like our best bet, because it's gonna keep doing this, and this is unfortunate.
Should we watch something else?
I mean,
I blame the weasel.
What about what's the weasel doing?
It's probably my fault. Maya just always blames me for everything, so I assume it's
become
Tapioca Weasel's fault.
Yeah, you've become sufficiently traumatized.
I mean, either way, we've got like 22 minutes before 2 hour
It's
mark.
true. It's true.
I'm wondering, while we have 423 people, if we can just again do another plug of the GoFundMe and then maybe hit the supers, because that might take a minute. And
Can I do it this time? Because look, here's the thing.
I'll share it while you do that. Talk about Josh though, because it's important that. Or what's the guy's name? The dead guy.
Oh,
yeah, Frank.
Frank.
He's
Talk about
Josh
the
is the dead guy.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, I mean, look, when Kipp and I have been doing this, for 3 years?
3 years together. Yeah, I think.
And you know, when Kipp and I started, I recognized. I mean, first of all, everybody asks why it is that we do so many things together. Yeah, that is Kipp takes a lot of the burden frankly, off of me just by being here. Because up until Kipp was here, I really felt kind of alone doing the counter-apologetic stuff that I do. Well, I mean that from shut up, Derek. I meant that from like another PhD, right? That's doing sort of the same thing. And when Kipp came, it was like, right? And
it didn't come out right, by the way. I'm just saying.
No, it's quite accurate. No, so don't knock it till you try, Derek. So, I remember early on saying, Kipp, listen, I have an extra camera, right? And I have an extra dynamic mic with a little box thingy that I can't remember what it's called. I'm gonna mail it. We should
start an OnlyFans. Sorry,
right.
I thought that's where you were going.
No, because the quality was just not as good as it could be, right? Kipp has been making do with not the greatest equipment that, And I remember it really was a turning point when we were doing a stream or I was watching a live or something. And I mean, it's just like your audio clipped throughout the entire stream. And I remember suggesting that this was my idea, that we do this. I wanted to call it MAGA, Make Audio Great Again, right? I thought it would have been great, but they shut that down for some reason. I guess that acronym is
I think there was an election.
Yeah, something. So
something happened.
No, this is really important, everybody, because Kipp and I talk quite a bit, and there isn't a week that goes by that it's like, shit, I had to restart, or I had to reinstall, or I had to, it's just time. It's time. And here's the thing. We don't charge for the stuff that we do online, right? And it takes a lot of time. I mean, it takes 9 hours, 9 hours sometimes to put this stuff together. No, I mean this. What Kipp does is it's very important work. We were just interacting with a very high-level biblical archaeologist today, 2 high-level biblical archaeologists today. It takes time, takes energy, and at this point, look, this quality, we're trying to make it so that it's quality audio, quality video. Things aren't shutting down in the middle of the stream. I think this is really important to do. So definitely, if you can, shoot him.
Only if
shoot
you
him a couple bucks. Yeah.
Only if you can, please. Right. And I think I mean just I was on Bad Science Sunday on Sunday, and my literally my ancient computer crashed right in the middle of
we were just getting to the good part. Yeah.
So this and it does, I mean, you can see it. I did I think I did even with, I did a show with Stephen Woodford from Rationality Rules recently, and it's like the drivers between the camera and the computer make it so like you can see the light washing out constantly, or and this is what I'm really proud of the video I just published yesterday, 2 days ago. If you guys haven't seen it, please go watch my video about 1Q Isaiah A. But it's pulled from a live stream that I did a few weeks ago. And as great as happy as I am with that video, it's just you can hear it in the audio. That the drivers are in my old computer are just not enough to handle some of the things that I want to keep doing. So
yeah. I find it really interesting. Josh gave you the gear, and I go and visit Josh, and he hands me a Mac, and the very computer that you guys, I mean, before we streamed, I was like, I gotta end up getting a new computer at some point, dude, but this is the computer that I'm using that Josh gave me. I've been using it for years. So Josh is just handing things out, he's just.
It's Megan, right? I'm like, man, don't give that. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, but
I actually said when I went up there, I was like, can I buy this computer off of you guys? Because this is really nice. And you didn't seem like you were using it. I'll go ask Megan how much, All right. You come back. She goes, she's not selling it. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't mean anything, but you're going to take it with you for free. And I'm like, what? Anyway, help Kipp out, please. Please. Someone said I got to get in there with tongues. Right?
That
right?
that has two meanings. So I don't know which one they're referring to.
That's Sumerian for. Anyway,
are you serious or are you joking? I can't.
You didn't understand what I just said? Oh no, I'm dead serious.
Derek is experienced in the glossolalia.
I've got some gifts.
He's got them.
I'm pretty gangster.
Oh, you know what I found? This might be interesting given the 1Q Isaiah A stuff. Like 5 years ago or something, when we first got on YouTube, I put out a whole mess of streams on textual criticism of both the Hebrew Bible and the Greek New Testament. And then Megan, when I was done with them all, linked them all together in like this 3.5-hour video. So if you want like a crash course on textual criticism, I remembered that's on my channel. Well, Megan's channel. But yeah, I go through everything. It's pretty cool. Anyway.
That's awesome. That like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Holy cow. That's
you saying I'm old?
That's reaching back.
Is that what you're saying?
No. I didn't say it. So.
I'm only 7.
It's not that far off from the truth. But yeah. So
I'm
wow.
a little irritated. Did you see my shared screen? What happened?
Yeah.
So everybody who's like, there was people running around with conspiracies, and it said,
"Hello."
Well, this is black magic. You just rose this witch. Somebody is a witch. We have a witch problem in the house. Okay, now. Does anybody have any wood or a duck? Okay.
They dressed up like this. Did you dress her up like no? I'll be.
Oh.
But we did do the nose. And the what? Well, she's a witch.
Crazy. Hey, did you guys notice that Than is actually in the chat? It's good to see you, Than.
I did not notice that.
I should have sent him a link. But wow, do you guys think Derek is? Oh my God! So
well, he's gone, but he'll get better.
And we're here, and this is
okay.
This is going well.
He just messaged and said, "What the fuck happened?"
What happened?
Well, I'm just gonna get back on brand for the stream because this is a clown show apparently. And it's YouTube's fault that it's a clown show. God damn it.
Agreed. So, that was nice. I assume that that we'll actually look at. We've only, I don't know. We're 10 minutes. Oh, what is he saying now? Yeah. Should we?
Yeah, we're still in.
Should we look at? I mean, I think we
question.
can do this.
Are you guys still in? I hate that question.
Should we?
I haven't had that problem. Not gonna lie.
They're getting their money.
This is going down fast.
So.
Hang on.
Are you gonna get that? You get that. I'm going to I'll
I was wondering if like Derek called him and
He
now they're
did.
talking on the phone.
So yeah, I got the
he's
same
muted.
call. He is muted. So I
This is totally my fault. Okay,
Is
there's a
it? Are you,
reason
like-
that Maya blames everything on me constantly. Okay,
Because it's your
and it's funny.
All right, I'm hanging up, dude. I swear that was weird.
The weasel says it's his fault.
I not intentionally. It's just
But you did.
Look at the room, okay? Like, do I look like I have it together? No.
Derek, you did set up the greatest joke of the night, though.
You did.
How?
When you texted and said, "Are you guys still in?" And I said, "I hate that question."
Did you tell everybody that I sent you that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Why'd you tell everybody our secret?
Wait, hold on. I thought you said this never happens, okay?
Hey, fans in the chat, ladies and gentlemen.
Does
Fan, we
does
didn't
Stan
even
wanna-
get to your section.
I know, and we probably won't, but I don't know.
No, skip ahead.
Should we?
No, just skip ahead. Like if you because
No,
that's how
I
you got to do it with
really-
the videos. You just got to.
What we should do,
boldly.
I think what we need to do, if we're going to do any responses to it, period. This was my concern from the beginning because of how big this channel is. I would just say we need to literally have like certain moments, and then that's it, and then pause it, and then or have moments played and then stop it because this is we're going to get hit no matter what. We're going to get hit.
You're right. That's a lot more effort than we on Bad Science Sunday are ever willing to put in. So we that's why we cover a guy who thinks that all caves are actually the fossilized remains of ancient giant vaginas. It's not a joke.
Vaginas.
Stone vaginas. Yeah. It's
not a joke.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear it. Sorry.
I'm gonna mute my.
Look, I'm gonna play these go through these
super
supers.
chats. All right.
Yeah, because
Let's
what's
do
the
that.
point? 9 minutes till Josh has already fallen asleep.
Yep.
Look at his face.
It is true.
Well, I'm just
He
thinking about
looks
giant
ashen.
stone vaginas now. So
Once you start thinking of them, Josh, you can't stop.
that's
You can tell Josh's like sleepiness level by how much the bow tie rotates.
This is true.
Very true.
Again, thanks, Captain Dadpool. Mr. Brainache, to help Kipp avoid breaching any hypothetical NDAs he may or may not have signed, or maybe a coffee.
Thank you.
Greg Royce, again, these are super chats. If you're trying to support Kipp, go to the GoFundMe in the description, pinned in the comment. Greg Royce, my full support for that Satan-looking dude inside joke from a comment on one of Dr. Kipp's live videos. Sorry, I posted in a debate group.
I assume I'm the Satan-looking dude.
You are
No.
100%.
Okay. All right. So,
Yeah.
did you notice I'm wearing my Magic School Bus T-shirt today?
Ooh.
So,
Now Miss Frizzle, proper witch. Just saying.
proper witch. Yes.
Charles
Yeah,
Chip
very true.
Payette, just want to contribute to Kipp's new rig and support his channel. Do it at the GoFundMe if you are. I really do appreciate the super chat because believe it or not, all the supers actually come to Myth Vision. And if you're looking to support Kipp, you got to do that through the link. But I do appreciate the effort and thank you. Thank you for being a member for so long.
Hey, look who it is.
Thank you. Well, the members on the channel. So, the real Daddy Abe, you guys are the internet's living Bible fact checkers, champions of truth and knowledge. Thanks for all you do. Oh,
Awesome. Thank you.
thank you, thank you. Domingo Aviles, forgive me.
Yeah.
The root. Okay, this is the question for you guys.
That's probably Koft Sade Pei and Aleph or Ayin Noon Pei. Usually translated as sacra. So the roots katsaf and anaf are normally translated as anger, almost always of gods. But how can a sacrifice like that in 2 Kings 3:27 cause anger? Do these roots mean rather something like disfavor? So this is the story of Misha's sacrifice to invigorate his god Chemosh and to overcome the forces of Yahweh. But do these roots mean rather something like disfavor? Let me just pull that up quickly and look at it. 2 Kings 3:27. Oh, unless you've got something off the top of your head, Josh.
No, I'm just reading it.
So it just says, so yeah, like it's a great, yeah, just are you reading it? Because yeah, it says that he took his son, his firstborn, who was to reign in his stead or after him, and he offered him up as a whole burnt offering upon the wall. And then the Ketzef Gadol, a great anger overcame Israel, and they went back because of it, and they returned to the land. So, like, I don't know. I'm just gonna look up Ketzef. Are you looking up Ketzef, Josh?
I'm trying to look through the different uses.
Yeah.
What is happening right now? What are we even talking about?
Sorry,
Go back to sleep,
physicist.
man. All right.
We're looking at
I would say it's all Greek to me, but I'm pretty sure that's New Testament, and this sounds like Old Testament. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, Kings is definite. Is that?
That's Old Testament. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but is that what KG means? Kings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
I'm so smart. Okay, I looked at it and I was like, that doesn't look like an atomic symbol, so it's probably a book of the Bible, as one does.
If not an atomic symbol, then definitely a book of the Bible. Sorry, I was just going to look at that again. It's yeah.
People are watching us do lexicography in silence.
It's this is not great television.
It's only the silence part that's not great television. The lexicography
I
part,
just realized
this audience. Okay, Derek is extremely good at cultivating an audience that is into the nerdy shit.
But they're watching us translate Hebrew silently.
Yeah.
Well, that's why. Yeah, that's why I was like, "What is happening?"
10 minutes they say something.
By the way, Josh and I actually translate Hebrew out loud twice a week on my channel on Thursday evenings. So, but not twice a week. Sorry, every second week. But
made my schedule a lot more full.
Is there a verdict on this super chat, Kipp?
Do the roots rather mean something like disfavor?
I mean, I don't think I'd have to spend some time with this.
I would too, but I also
Good answer.
like almost always of gods, but how can a sacrifice cause anger? And some of this too is possibly like the way I've always looked at this passage is this is the writer, the Deuteronomist, also desperately trying to cover for a bigger story than he's left us. So for him to use this specific term with and direct it upon the sons of Israel, I think it sounds odd in the first place, in large part because he's doing everything he can to kind of denude what's actually happening here. But
like, I mean, just looking at, again, this is just off over the last 3 minutes of doing lexicography, but it gets used like in Joshua 22, right? And it's referring to what happened to Achan. And it says that this Ketzef like fell upon the nation because of what Achan had done. I mean, whatever it is, it caused them to die in battle. So, in the Pharaoh, it says the Pharaoh, became angry with his. So I don't know. It seems like, just off the bat, like it seems like it's not just, I don't know, disfavor. I mean, maybe disfavor that brings about a very serious consequence.
Yeah.
We got another one here. Thank you for that big super.
Wow.
Chuck Arama 451. 1Q Isaiah A has missing text in 2:9:10, which we've been talking about for a month now. Everybody at least. 4Q 55 has the insertions. What clues lead to 1Q Isaiah A or its source to being the older text? Is it just a tendency toward expansion over time? Also, what is the best way to contact you professionally?
I always refer people to my academia page. I check it occasionally, which is to say that I do check it. No.
That was wonderful. I always refer people to this thing that I sometimes check. That means I don't
check
like
it
you.
at least once a week. Okay. But I don't like giving out my email. And I don't like connecting with direct
You
messages.
could join the
either,
Patreon.
so.
I know that you do connect with your Patreon.
Yeah, I do connect with my patrons as well, but
So-
my academia page is the easiest way to do it.
The strategy
I don't know if
that
it's the
I've
easiest,
seen,
Kip, but
It really
The
is.
strategy-
Josh.
pretty clearly.
the strategy that I've seen be effective with Kipp on many occasions now is somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and then you can and then you can do the DM chain, and it works. I've personally connected like 7 or 8 people with Kipp.
Let's all use our
That's-
common sense
that's
here.
Very
Anyone
true.
who's willing to throw $50 at a super chat, thank you again for the support.
Thank you
here
very
at
much.
Midnight.
And let's look at this question here too. Sorry,
But either way, if you are, I'm just saying, if they want to contact you, you could spend less than 50 and be a Patreon member and get in contact with Kipp that way. Either way,
That's very
so
true.
just saying.
That's
Okay.
also very true. So,
Shameless plug.
yes, 1Q Isaiah A has missing text in chapter 2, verses 9 through 10. And there are insertions in 2 additional manuscripts, later manuscripts from the Dead Sea Scrolls. Importantly, both of those also preserve a textual variant different from what we see in the Masoretic text. Generally speaking, I think that text critics tend towards shorter text being earlier, and that expansion being more consistent with text over time. So that's usually the starting point, but it's not the only thing. Importantly, first of all, and I wanna say this because I was watching an apologist talk about this. James White, have you guys heard of this guy? He's like a fake doctor. Not a real doctor like us, but
I love fake doctors.
Yeah.
You talking about the Calvinist James White?
Yes, James White.
That's a real doctor you're talking about,
Dude.
But go ahead.
So
He paid for a real piece of paper.
He did pay for a real piece of paper. That's true. That's legitimate. So he suggested that it's, this is possibly the result of an eye skip or a scribal error for the text to actually have fallen out. Importantly, textual critics and scribal specialists actually look at various important features within a text or a manuscript to provide clues as to what's going on, and that is definitely not what has happened here. I won't get into the ways in which we understand things work, but that's definitely not what has happened here. This is a deliberate insertion or omission, and most scholars tend towards insertion in large part because our earliest form of this text is missing the text, so that right away suggests it's an insertion. It appears in manuscripts that are later, but in addition to that, the text itself, like the added text, the addition, doesn't fit so cleanly with an 8th century context, when most scholars will also say that that this particular text was written, and actually fits a lot better with a later time period, post-exilic, maybe even Hellenistic. There's, generally speaking, just a lot of problems with Isaiah chapter 2 textually. There's a lot of scribal activity going on in there. But I hope that that provides a satisfactory answer to your excellent questions. And yeah, feel free, reach out on my my academia page. I'll be sure to get back to you.
Thank you so much, Chuck. Explore Reality Than. So I know it's not much, but I hope this helps, Dr. Kipp. I have yet to get my check from the $1 billion apologetics industry department.
So,
Gotta get a hold of Wes.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you're talking to the wrong people. Hey, Than. If you're not getting the check,
NASA,
so.
the whole NASA shill deal,
They never
covering
fail,
up the truth of the flat Earth
You
pays
always
way
get
better.
paid. You always get
Yeah.
paid, don't you?
Yeah, we always get paid.
Absolutely. So
Yeah, and by the
same
way,
with
this helped me, Dan.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You can help Kipp by going to the GoFundMe, though. But did he go to the GoFundMe? Maybe he went to the GoFundMe and he. I feel like we're not being clear enough. I don't know. Anyway, thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. We'll have to look at what you said later. I know it has to do with undesigned coincidences because someone played a very small clip, and I saw it in a video. I think it was on Michael Beverly's channel, like a brief clip.
Than had 2 appearances, actually.
Did he?
Yes, and the first one was about undesigned coincidences, and I just kind of went,
okay.
Sorry, Than. But the second one, he came back, and he came back to talk about 2 powers in heaven theology.
Okay.
From the book of Daniel. So that was fun. That was fun.
Right.
I
wish it was just 3 powers. Then you'd have everything you need. But
I actually think in his second, correct me if I'm wrong. Chuck says he messaged on academia last week.
See?
Hey guys,
well, I seriously owe Chuckaroma a lot, but anyways, I'm just seeing that Than says he didn't even get into his argument on the resurrection, and he did say, I do remember him saying, I'm pretty sure when he talked about the 2 powers in heaven, that it was kind of like a pre-Christian version of the Trinity, except there's only 2 of them. And
give the money, he said. So, all right, 30% of $5. Let me subtract. Then whatever it costs me to make it into Canadian money for you, and then
Dr. Josh has to run.
Okay, so
he does.
Can we?
Okay, so let's get through these.
Can we get through these, Josh, or is it too late?
I'm just trying to stay married. That's all.
Okay. Well, I want to wrap things up too.
Okay.
I wanna,
Yep, we all do.
Can we? Do you have 4 minutes or so to blast through?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank Fashi. We can read a lot about Yahweh's weapons, uses a sword, etc. But I'm dying to know what kind of sword. What were the ancient Israelite weapons like? Would it be the Kopesh?
I will tell you who to read. William Reed, my friend, Hebrew Bible specialist. That's what he wrote his dissertation on, was divine weaponry. So shoot me an email, Digital Hammurabi, and I'll put you in contact.
Bingo. Greg Royce. Yes, he said he wouldn't trust any video from that Satan-looking dude.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Greg. Nitty in the house. Thanks for being a member so long. Take 8 months to convert to Catholicism. Rake in the money. Exploring reality. Also, we are Myth Vision.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Thanks,
All
Nitty.
right.
And
So we wrap
80.
this up. Oh, there we
Was
go.
there
Was there?
a BC Septuagint other than 5 books of Moses?
Oh, were the other texts from the Hebrew Bible translated into Greek prior to the 1st century CE? I mean, I think it's a good question, and I'm not sure we have an answer to that. I think almost certainly, just on the basis of the fact that the New Testament quotations, a lot of those we can probably pretty securely date to the 1st century, and it would surprise me if they're quoting the text that has literally just started to be translated that early. I don't know. Seems likely. I'll just say that it seems likely to me.
Okay,
So,
ladies and gentlemen,
all
Dr. Joshua Bowen is either going to get murdered and end up
Yep.
on the next what's that Snapped show, or he's going to end up getting the marriage isn't going to last. Go help support Kipp. Go to the GoFundMe. If you're watching this later, you could support him and drop him a comment. He'll see it. If you're trying to get a hold of him, go to Patreon. Trying to get a hold of Josh, digitalhammurabi@gmail.com. You can go to the YouTube channel and support Megan. They have a course. Well, we have 2, really. I don't know if we launched the second one, did we, Josh? Only 1, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so we have Slavery in the Hebrew Bible is coming, but we did the Myths Borrowed by the Bible on MVP. You have courses on Hebrew, Sumerian. I mean, you're doing all sorts of really, really cool stuff. So subscribe and check both of them out. Any final words?
No, thank you. Thank you for having us on.
Thank you.
Yes.
Everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and help Kipp out. Have a good one.
Good night, everyone.
Son, do you want to know what the truth is? After this, there's no turning back. You take the blue pill and you wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill and you stay in Wonderland, and I show you just how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.